This week has been strange in a way that only transition weeks can be. I did have a lot of thoughts about how we are building our lives, how we are learning, and how we are letting technology shape us, like something without even realizing it. And in the middle of all that thinking, I also passed my university exam. I had a quiet birthday party with my boyfriend, rushed my cat to the vet, and packed my suitcase to go to Thailand for the first time in 3 years. So yeah, welcome back to week 8 of our journey to change our lives, and let's talk about it all. Before we get into what happened this week, like exams, celebrations, and a very exciting update at the end, I want to share something that's been on my mind for quite a while, and this week I finally wrote a whole university paper about it. Let's talk about AI in education. It's not a futuristic thing, not even as a debate of good versus bad, but it's something that's already here and changing the way we learn, teach, grow, and even communicate in ways we don't even realize. Why this matters to me? Some of you already know that I've been working on an educational app. I'm deeply passionate about making learning more accessible, more personalized, and more equitable, and AI can help us get there. But this week, as I finished my paper, I realized we are approaching a turning point, not only in education, but how we define intelligence and effort and value, and it's happening so fast. We already see schools banning ChatGPT. Some teachers tell students not to use AI under any circumstances, and I kind of get where they're coming from, but that's fear of cheating, of laziness, losing like human touch. But my belief is banning AI in education is like banning calculators in math. It might feel like you're preserving something valuable, but actually you're just refusing to evolve with the tools available. When the calculators were introduced, so many teachers were against them too. Who of you have not heard the phrase, you will not walk around with a calculator every day and can use it as you please, right? But here we are having a calculator on our phones we're taking with us every day. So what happens when we ban those tools? Think about it. Calculators didn't replace math skills, they shifted them. Once we had calculators, we stopped spending hours doing long divisions by hand. I still remember when I needed to recalculate like the sine, cosine, and tangent and spent like 2 pages on only one calculation. The calculator made a lot of that easier, but most of us still had to understand how the numbers work. The same is true for AI. It doesn't eliminate critical thinking, but it changes where that thinking needs to happen. When students use ChatGPT or Notion AI or any of those tools, the skill isn't just write a paper. The skill is, can you prompt effectively? Can you critique the AI answers? And can you revise it and add it to your own voice? Can you detect if AI is wrong or biased? And that's what AI literacy looks like. I see 2 paths ahead of us as a society. Option 1, we fear AI. We shut it out of classroom. We pretend it's not there. And in doing so, we widen the gap between those who know how to use it and those who don't. Or option number 2, we teach with AI. We build AI literacy in classes. Just like we teach reading or coding, we guide our students not to copy blindly, but to collaborate with it, like ethically, critically, and creatively. Because if you like it or not, the future job market won't ask, did you write this alone? Did AI help you? It will ask, can you leverage the tools to solve real problems? And I kid you not, even though many students are trying to cheat with AI, those who don't really know how the basics work are still failing, even with the help of AI. There are exams now written with the help of AI. The students were completely allowed to use it as they pleased. And still, the good students, those who questioned the outputs, still did outperform those others who were just copy and pasting what AI told them. So let's get real for a second here. If we don't teach AI skills, we're not protecting anyone, not our students, not our children. We're disempowering them. We're setting them up for a world that won't wait for them to catch up. And here's the scary part. Those who learn how to use AI effectively will move faster, better, further. They'll take opportunities we haven't imagined yet, while others are stuck Googling or writing everything manually. They'll be prototyping, pitching, and publishing. That's not about intelligence. That's about the access and the adaptation and being open-minded to the change. And that leads to a bigger shift. If AI can do the low-level tasks, what's left for us humans? My answer is judgment, strategy, responsibility. I think we're entering an era where decision making is the most valuable skill. Not just following instruction, not even gathering ideas, but knowing what matters, what to do first, and how we own the outcome. And honestly, a lot of people don't even know how to do that. I've met so many people who don't take on responsibility. Many were not trained to make complex choices. We are trained to follow rubrics, and AI doesn't work well with just rubrics. It works with questions, curiosity, and critical feedback. So if we want to prepare our students for the world ahead, we can't just teach them facts. We have to teach them discernment. So in my university paper this week, I argued that AI should be integrated into schools and not banned. And it's not just the students who need training, teachers need training too. The real danger here isn't cheating, it's the inequality and the prejudgment. We need to define AI literacy the same way we define media literacy, where the sad part is, in Germany at least, many schools don't even have adapted to that yet. And I have a few simple ideas to propose. First, let students annotate AI-generated text with their own reflections. Use AI to speak and spark ideas, not replace thoughts and thinking. We can create human-only tasks and human AI tasks and compare them. And also, we should make ethics a core part of every AI interaction. I know this won't fix everything, but doing nothing isn't neutral. It's also a huge choice that has consequences. So my question for you, if you're students, do you use AI tools in your work? Which ones you're using, why, how, when? And if you're a parent, how do you help your children in the upcoming new era? And if you're a teacher like me or an entrepreneur like me, how do you think about AI in your own workflows? And if you're just curious, what scares you about this shift? What excites you? Please drop your thoughts in the comments and let's discuss. Let's talk about this all together. This is one of the biggest changes of our generation and we need all of us in that conversation. Let's shift gears a little. While all this AI reflection was going on and the paper I wrote about it, I was also deeply in my final university exams this week, like really deep. I was surrounded with flashcards, reading, study snacks, and that lovely low-grade anxiety we all know well. But something surprises me. Actually, I passed my legal and rights exams, and not just pass. Actually, I found out right after the exam because only about 20 students were taking it and attended, and the professor actually calculated the scores right then and there. And hearing him say, "What do you actually want to hear? You passed," that's not a surprise. It felt like little fireworks quietly going off in my chest. Like last time I talked about the reference letter of my other professor, how highly he values me and my skills. But apparently not just one professor here, but kind of all of them. And I think it's because I am also not just following any rules and waiting for instructions, because I am taking my life into my own hands and trying to share my knowledge with all of you so you can change too. It doesn't matter if it's you or the whole world you want to change. We need to act to change. And I'm stepping into a huge shift in my own life. I felt excited after passing my exams, but also I had a strange emptiness inside of me. Have you ever experienced this? Like you work so hard, you stress so much, you prepare, you convince yourself this one thing is kind of everything, and then it happens, you succeeded, and instead of feeling this euphoria, you feel a little blank, a little like, okay, now what? I think it's because we often put so much meaning into the moment before a milestone comes, and we don't always know how to hold the moment afterwards. The exams become our mountain, but once we climb it, there's no celebration camp at the top. There's just like wind and other mountains waiting for us. So I realized something I want to share with you. Passing the exams isn't about grades. It's like any other moment about proving to yourself that you showed up, that you followed through, and a promise you made to yourself and not anyone else. It's about managing your energy during studies or working blocks, and saying no to distractions, like balancing that little voice inside your head saying, "You're not ready," with another voice that says, "You try anyway." And trust that your process, not just results, is worthy of the pride. So if you're watching this and you're passing something, an exam, a driving test, a hard conversation, you deserve to celebrate. It's not over, but because you did it. And that's actually one thing I noticed as a difference between those very successful or very happy people to those who are not satisfied yet. Happy people believe in their visions. They doubt those teeny tiny voices in their head. And for the unsuccessful people, it's the other way around. They are doubting their capabilities and are trusting in their fears. And I hope we all strive to be the first versions. I also want to zoom out for a second and say this because I was talking about my grades. Academic exams are not the only measurement of growth. Sometimes they're not even close to the best measurements. This week, alongside exams, I was also writing a research paper on AI, which I just told you about. I was attending rhetorical training sessions, preparing for product demos, and as you will hear later, or maybe already have figured out by the different background here, I am traveling to visit family and friends. None of that showed up on my test, but all of it shaped me, and I think we forget that. We measure smartness by multiple choice, and we grade comprehension based on memorization, but real learning, it looks like late night conversations, personal insights, failing at something, adjusting, and then trying again. Here's a tiny story that might capture better what I mean. 2 weeks ago, as I was cramming for my exams, my cat got sick. There was a bump on her belly. She wasn't eating much and she was unusually clingy. So between study sessions, we also were on vet duty, cuddling her, monitoring her symptoms, like Googling what might be wrong and then calling the clinic. We were carrying her to appointments. On the check-ins, we actually found out she got cancer, but very, very luckily the vet said we noticed this so early that it's unusual that we even noticed it. She went into surgery the same week and we monitored her a lot, but she recovered so fast and it's her usual self again. And even though none of that was on the academic syllabus, it teaches a lot. It teaches how to stay calm under stress, how to manage conflicting priorities, and how to care for others even when my own head is completely spinning. I mean, she was priority now and I didn't really focus on my studies that much. That's education too. Not the kind with a certificate, but the kind that really builds your character. This whole week also made me reflect on something bigger, how we define productivity. There's this myth of the perfect student, always studying from 6 a.m., color-coded notes, no distractions, and the flawless GPA and the Pinterest aesthetic. And it's just that, a myth. Most of us are juggling 10 things at once. We're trying to study and work and part-time and maybe build a startup or care for family members or deal with mental health issues. And we burn out. We compare ourselves. We feel behind. And let me tell you, I have not met anyone who is this perfect student. Everyone is struggling in one way or another. And my truth is, productivity isn't about perfection, it's about alignment. Are you making progress towards the life you want? Not just copying others, not just copying ChatGPT, you and your own goals. Also, are you learning skills that make you more capable, more confident, more you, more yourself? Then you are on track. Full stop. Think about it. Look into yourself, and I think you know the answer. So let's refine success. I passed my exam. More than that, I earned clarity. Clarity, I can handle pressure, that my systems work, that even in busy, chaotic weeks, I can still move forward. And that kind of clarity, it doesn't come from external validation. It comes from watching yourself show up over and over. So if you're in exam season right now, I'm rooting for you. But more than that, I'm rooting for your resilience, because the exams will come and go. But the way you talk to yourself during those hard weeks, that's what sticks. That's what's shaping you and your reflection in the mirror. So now zoom out a little more, because this week wasn't all stress and studying. Some parts were very soft, quiet, and almost invisible from the outside. But I think these are the moments that actually help us stay sane during those intense weeks. A birthday dinner and a breath. Let's start with something simple. This week it was my boyfriend's birthday and we didn't throw like a big party. We didn't post anything about it yet except this video I'm taking, and we didn't plan some grand adventure. We just celebrated, just the two of us, and at a beautiful restaurant. We had no phones, no multitasking, just a few hours really present with each other. And it felt very luxurious. And it wasn't because of like the food, though. Yes, it was very good. It was because we gave ourselves permission to pause, permission to be with each other. Sometimes soft moments are the boldest decisions you can make in your busy life. So let's talk about something I think a lot of us feel but don't say out loud. That tiny voice that says, you didn't do enough today. You rested, you're guilty. You took time off, you're guilty. You did something fun or slow or just for yourself, you're guilty. But where does it all come from? For me, probably generational trauma. But in general, I think it's the idea we've internalized that value comes from output. If we didn't produce something visible like a paper, a result, and handed in deadlines, then that day was wasted. But for me, the new truth I'm preaching about also the last weeks, rest is work too. It's maintenance, it's refueling, it's the reason you can go hard next days. And if we never allow ourselves soft days, we burn out that very, very fast. When you see a gym dude, he will probably also tell you that his muscles grow mostly on rest days. This week I also got to spend some time with my cat again. She's feeling better. Even something as tiny as a purring cat in your lap shifts your nervous system so much. Joy doesn't have to be big to be real. It can be like a long walk in the sun, your favorite drink, a short playlist that makes you dance in your chair, and a memory with a loved one, or watching a silly show with zero guilt. Those things might seem like nothing, but they actually build your resilience. You're teaching your brain, we are safe, we're okay, we can slow down. And that makes a difference when the next high pressure week hits. As a biology major, I can tell you if you're constantly under stress and your nervous system is constantly firing, that's very not healthy, and you're declining your life expectancy by quite a huge block. Let's get back to something positive. Another meaningful moment this week was my alumni day. It was a gathering of past and present founders from our startup incubator. And what stood out to me wasn't the pitch decks or the business talk, it was the energy. People were so excited, hopeful. Some had built something, some had pivoted, some had failed, but they were still here, still learning, still trying. And that to me is the founder's mindset. Not success in the flashy way, but in a quiet persistence. Also connecting with other people who've walked similar paths. Some reminded me that my journey doesn't have to be linear and yours doesn't have to either. There will be seasons, there will be stalls, there will be leaps. But as long as we keep checking in with our values, joy, with vision, we'll be moving into the right direction. So please keep checking in. You know what else we realized this week? Strength doesn't always look like speed or output or ambition. Sometimes strength is stillness. Sometimes it's choosing connection over competition. Sometimes it's letting someone cook for you once. We celebrate grit, we celebrate hustle, but I want us to start celebrating gentle consistency, emotional presence, tiny rituals to help us stay grounded, because those are the things that last. They are the infrastructure of long-term success. Not the fireworks, but the foundation. If you're watching this and you're in a seasons where things feel like slow, where maybe you're recovering from burnout, or you're in between phases, or you're waiting on results, that's okay. Soft days don't mean you've stopped. You didn't stop progressing. In fact, they might be the exact thing you need to metabolize your growth, to integrate everything that's been happening. So don't rush out of them. Let them be part of your journey, not just a pause in it. So one thing I've been excited about this week led to this moment here. Packing my bag, saying goodbye to my cats, and boarding a flight to Thailand. It actually was a surprise gift, and I'm very happy that I'm here. It's been 3 years since I last visited. 3 years of growing, building, doubting, and trying again. In 3 years that stretched me in every direction. And now I'm returning, not just to a place, but to so many people, so many memories, and to another version of myself. Saying goodbye on Saturday night, we packed up our cat, drove to my partner's parents. They are going to take care of them the next 2 weeks, and it sounds like a small thing, but it feels so big because my cats are part of my daily routine. The smaller one, she follows me from room to room. She's there when I'm up late for work or when I'm just needing to pause and breathe. When I'm like cooking or napping, every minute I'm at home, she's by my side. Letting her go, even like temporarily, felt like shedding a layer of those everyday moments, and that what's leaving often is not just a physical act, but an emotional untethering. A reminder, hey, you're about to step out of this timeline for a second, and maybe that's also what I kind of need. Maybe that's why I got this vacation as a gift. I always find airports so strange. So many people, all emotions. Everyone is in their own little battle of logistics and emotion, reunions, farewells, layovers, missed flights. And it's so much chaos, but deeply, deeply human. And as I said, waiting for boarding, I realized I'm not just bringing a suitcase, I'm bringing my whole season. Like the stress of the exams, the rhythm of tutoring, the slow burn of building a startup, and the weird calm of summer. The high of the reference letter, the worry over my cats, and the birthday dinner, the AI paper, the rushing in between all of those roles. All of this is like coming with me, but not as baggage, but as context. Because in contrast to many, I think when we travel, we don't leave ourselves behind. We meet ourselves in a new place, in a new perspective. The thing about distance is that it gives you scale. At home, everything feels urgent and consuming. Tasks stack up, ideas swirl, you get caught in loops. But on the other side of the world, time stretches. You get a perspective. You stop clenching. This is what I'm hoping for here in Thailand, to reconnect with my family and friends I haven't seen in so many years, and to remember how big the world is and how small some worries are. Like to breathe deeply, eat slowly, move gently, and to listen more than just talk, and maybe most importantly, to be a person again and not just a project. So I think we can't talk about this enough because so many people are struggling with this. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is stop. Not stop like forever, not abandon your work, but pause intentionally to regenerate. In biology, there's a concept called rest and digest. It's the opposite of fight or flight. It's what lets your nervous system recover, your muscles repairing, and your mind integrating everything that's been processing. And in a way, that what this trip is for me. I'm stepping into rest and digest. So when I'm returning, I'm not depleted, like I'm ready. And I think you can't always optimize the present. One more thing I've been thinking about in work, in life, we often try to optimize every single moment, like be effective, be efficient, make progress, track results. But travel breaks that whole illusion. You wait in lines and you sit on long flights. You can't just rush a jet lag or long meals with your relatives. You don't use your time well, you experience it. And weirdly, that ineffective is freeing because not everything meaningful fits into KPIs. So maybe the takeaway here this week is it's okay to pause the timeline, to leave your productivity tools behind, and to zoom out so that when you zoom back in, you see clearly again. So let's say this week didn't end with a launch or a big pitch or a breakthrough. It ended quietly with a paper turned in, a goodbye, whispers to my cats, and a flight to the other side of the world. Maybe that's actually what we all need, because not every chapter ends with a bang. So end with pause. Some asked us to slow down long enough to feel like the weight we've been carrying, and to ask, what do I want to take into the next season with me? For me, it's that rest is not the opposite of growth, it's part of it. That slowing down doesn't mean I'm failing, falling behind, and that space creates clarity. And that's why I'm filming from Thailand today. I'm sharing and what it's like to reconnect with my roots while still keeping this journey alive. Because this challenge, it's not just building something. For me, it's about becoming someone I really want to be. So thank you for going through that journey with me. I also love to be part of yours. So see you next week.